moving into the second round of the second turn in God Kings, and I'm trying to cut back a little bit on the video usage on these scenarios. Anyway, started off with the Mittani, finishing up their siege there, using, remember you can use any size card for a siege, and then the Kassites came back and played a big 3-point card for the army reforms. They put another division into play, help reduce the chances that they're going to lose ground back there. They're still so heavily outnumbered, but at least if they're putting something in the way, it's a little bit less risky. Alright, we got two more. We finish things off with the Hittites grabbing Wilusha here, and the Egyptians actually taking all of Canaan. Whether or not they want to take this last Jericho, it's up for question. I mean, what's the point? It's not even a wood space. And they can just move forward and try to grab things. If they need it defensively at some other time, they can always pick it up. So they're probably going to move forward. And we move the round marker forward. So here I was looking at the Mittani hand, and this is one of those, this would not have happened in a real game. It's false rumor, allows you to cancel a revolt. Well, that's what this was, I believe. Let's look back. It's hard to tell because things are called different things. Yeah, this is called a revolt on the card. So I'd rather not have that take effect when they were holding this card for this very purpose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Bintami pieces back into play and get rid of that revolt's effect. And I'll just try to get them somewhere. Damn back hurts so much. And the Mittami were successful here. How big a deal is this? Well, it's a big thing for the Babylonians. But outside of them, I think everyone else was happy with what they did anyway. If anything, the Hatti would have considered attacking. The Egyptians were doing what they were going to do. So they're both going to let it play out and see what the Mittani do. And the Mittani strike again while the iron's hot. They move into here, get a overrun. They had more than 10 to 1. The leader displaced back, just one space back to Tatul, leading the division. And then the Mittani slide into there. Now they control, not quite, they don't quite control Mara yet. They're moving into the capital area, which should be a major penalty. However, it's hard to actually hold, you can't hold this between turns. It'll always come free. So whatever they do here is kind of unimportant. But here's the battle situation. We've got 3 divisions for the Mittani versus 1 for the Babylonians. A bunch of cav, which we're going to see is going to give us at least a minus. Well, first thing we have is a withdrawal chance with this, which I didn't make. And that looks like it actually is going to succeed. So he's going to get to pull back to Babylon. And he went 1, 2, 3, and he can spend his 4th and grab that. And the battle didn't actually happen. So the Kassamites then launched a minor campaign using a card for that to grab themselves Elam down here. Extra production for them that's far from them until the revolt or the barbarian invasions happen. And then to march out of Nineveh and to reach here, Wachukani, where they fought a battle. No chariot charge was successful up against the Mittani. They defeated them, mainly because they outrolled. Otherwise, there wasn't much there. But now they have a card to help themselves here. They're going to play this Mercenaries card. Gives them 3 full-strength mercenary units with their general, just for winning the battle. And they've done a lot of damage. They've wiped out the entire chariot component. So let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm 1 unit above stacking limits. That's the only problem. But I am going to have to siege the city, and it seemed worthwhile to add that just in case this sucker comes along. And I can always bring... I gotta have another... Oh, my other leader's over there. Ouch. Okay. Well, so that's 2 for this round. I'm going to finish things up here on the 3rd round, going into the 4th. And let's see what we got. The Hatti make their march down into Ishua, and they take part of it. Basically, the division's starting here, and then the Egyptians slid up, ignoring Jericho. They don't really need it for Canaan. They can always fill those in later when they do. And going up, sieging Kadash, they got lucky, 50-50 chance, they took it. So now they have Amurut as well. And again, well, wait, there's 3 they're missing. 1, 2, 3. No, they have it. So they have both the cities and they have at least 3 areas. Oh no, they need 4, but they have 4. Okay. So now they can keep pushing further into other areas. So they can take Carchemish next. And kind of do this sort of avoidance of filling in all the territories that they need in order to get the more victory points and production points. Right now they have about as big an army as they can hold, though. It's not quite 20, but it's close. So they may be, you know, trying to fill in the dots with these little mercenary or garrison units. Alright, on to another round for this. Mitanni played one of these Wisdom of Horus cards. Activates an army. 2 additional movement points for the activation. That allowed him to move up here, reach 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They actually should be able to get a second one. And they'll have taken all of Mari now. They didn't really need to take that much. Actually, they're better off taking this, because then they can withdraw safely without going over an enemy zone. Okay, so now there's going to be a potential for a big battle here. This is going to be kind of ugly. It's another matchup with the Babylonians. We'll see what that turns out at. Well, both sides decided they wanted to fight. This was a somewhat larger Babylonian force because of those mercenaries that have been added in. It also had about parity on the chariots, but both sides rolled. Neither side got the chariot advantage. So now they're going into the main battle, and we're here on nearly the same table, but because of those divisions that the Mitanni have, as well as a slightly better leader, they end up with a +3, and they're taking that all on an offensive die roll bonus. What we're going to see, roll the dice. It doesn't help them terribly. End up on the 5 table. They're going to do 20, and they're going to only take 15, which means they win this battle. And the defender is going to have to retreat through enemy territory, which is an additional little ouch to be pushed on. I think that's another step loss, actually. And not only did the Kassites take another step loss from the retreating through here, and they could have dropped down to here, but they want to be in Assyria if they can help it. They also picked up this hasty retreat card, which was hit on them by the Mitanni as an action card. And this meant they took an attrition roll, and they lost a couple more steps there, actually happening before they get the retreat penalty. Well, we're going to move on to them, but they're in pretty bad shape right now. The only thing that's really saving them is everyone's attacking the Mitanni. The Mitanni can't really afford to try to, you know, finish them off. If they were just facing them one-on-one, they could end this, but, you know, they really aren't in that position now. Could they cut some sort of deal with the Hatti? Maybe. Who knows? And they had one of the kind of interesting things in this game. They had the successor take place, just the die roll, and that's probably going to happen as well for the Hatti, because we're getting late in the turn where the roll is fairly likely. And got a cheaper leader they were able to play this card for, march down, and took control of an area here. Now, see, here's the thing. The Mitanni can go and exploit their victory by capturing territory, but then they're going to lose territory to other powers. And it's just a tough call which way to go and what to do. But where they sit right now, they're getting gang attacked by like 3 different sides. And maybe if they allow the Egyptians a northward route, it'll be for the best for them if they strike south. So they're going to start opening up that conversation with Egypt. And the Hadi got their successor, which is a less valuable person overall as a leader. I'm not making any moral stance here. But they ended up playing a 1-point card to just grab this. Now they control Ishua and they can move, elsewhere. However, the Egyptians did take the Mitanni up on their little deal. And the Mitanni are basically saying, hey, just, grab your track, move up that way, we'll leave you alone, and we'll fight the Babylonians. That way we break this into 2 one-on-one battles. You've got a good leader, I've got a good army, and then it'll be the 2 of us as sort of a clash of titans. Now that's never going to really happen for one simple reason, because countries are reborn no matter what in their homeland. But, they're new players, right? Anyway, we're going into the last round of this turn, and then we'll finish up that. Well, after cutting that deal, the Mitanni are free, and they play another one of these Wisdom of Horus cards, which I think are very, very potent coming from here. 1, 2, 3, converting. 4, 5, converting. 6, opening up a siege, and they get to roll because they didn't have to fight there. They don't succeed in taking it, which means they're not going to get Assyria, but they've taken it away from the Babylonians. Whereas the Babylonians are going to get a turn to be able to try to maybe take Mari or something. We'll see how that all goes. They're able to manage that with their own Way of Horus card. This is a smaller one. Most of the ones I've seen, or all of the ones I'd seen before this, were 3-point cards. This one only allows a 2-point leader to do that effect, but it's kind of cool. One thing I'm feeling with these cards, they feel very flavorless. It may again just be a nature that a CDG can't capture, the same kind of historical details that you can catch when the details aren't known at all, right? I mean, when you're looking at most of the CDGs, the history is fairly well linked. Is that a bad thing with the game? Well, it makes it feel less specific than most of the CDGs do feel. Makes it feel like you're kind of playing something that feels less like a CDG and more like a light area war game, which this almost feels like. Yeah, you have the point-to-point movement, and yeah, you have the cards and that choice between usage. Maybe in play feel it's the same, but there's a little something extra that comes with the CDGs, and it's missing here, I think. And to finish things off, the Egyptians have a powerful card, Favor of Ra. This is a major campaign. They're going to get to activate 3 generals. This is important because they want to siege this. So let's open up with that. They got a +1 on it. It's a normal city. So they end up taking it. And elsewhere, they've been able to... Now this kind of weakens their position, but they've been able to split up, sending Thutmose up here and grabbing Aleppo, as well as putting him into Mukish. Part of the agreement was that they leave Carchemish in Mitanni hands. Mitanni are really weakened, though. We can see where the Mari area was taken away from them. We see the effect of the Hatti moving into place to try to get their armies into position to face the Egyptians, because they're a little split up, weren't expecting this kind of maneuver. The Egyptians themselves, not only do they move up here, but they move here, and they've got another siege there. On a 4, 5, or 6 that succeeds. Otherwise, they're going to have to fall back. But that's not terrible, I don't think. And they do get the good roll. The garrison is gone. And they've taken another Mitanni breeding ground here. And this has just made the Mitanni, even more weak they didn't think they were going to lose this maybe this turn. Maybe they thought they were going to get some production out of it. I'm not sure if they do if they're not linked up. Anyway, that's it for the main part of the turn. I'm going to calculate victory points. I'll come back after that. Well, looking at the victory points, we don't have a sudden death, but we do have an interesting sort of swing as to how they were allocated. The Egyptians led the pack this time with 13 up here, and it's kind of hard to read these tracks with all the different piles of counters on them, especially when those wooden tribute ones aren't even used. I probably should just remove them. Over here, the Babylonians did not do too badly themselves. I think they're at 11. And then we come to the Mitanni, who were doing quite well before, and when I look at current turn, it looks like they pulled a total of 9. They've been driven back quite far. All they've got now is 4, 7, and the other 2 came from the 2 battles they won. I forgot to mention, I think, when I marked them. And then finally the Hatti, who have pulled 8 in for this turn. They've expanded quite a bit, but now they're facing the Egyptians. Now here's the problem. If the Egyptians can do well against the Hatti, they can and continue to push into Mitanni, the remaining Mitanni territory. They can put themselves near that automatic victory point mark. And they could also be gaining victory points at a faster rate than anyone else. So that's a little disturbing and a little worrisome. It's quite possible the Mitanni are going to have to back out of their deal, or else maybe let the Babylonians help attack the Egyptians, try to cut them in half. It's hard to tell. I don't think there's anything else except moving points. Ooh! Yeah, one more thing. The Babylonians, and I grabbed this, but they take a 2-point hit if I can find the current victory points. They take a 2-point victory point hit for having lost this. Now this just gets removed. As far as I can tell, it doesn't get replaced. I'll have to look that up. But that means they don't really gain anything. I gotta look. Indeed, it looks like the Babylonians are going to have lost this space. They're going to have to go back and regain it somehow. I guess it makes things easier for their control, though. I'm not sure how that really helps them, because they really need a line of political control for things to work. And they still are without control of the area. But it does get the enemy out of there. Whatever that mattered. Alright, well, let's figure out the order of play. Now, what did we say who was hosed? I gotta look at all those numbers again, and I just looked at them and just spoke them to you, but I can't remember and I can't see them very easily. So we've got an 8 here, a 9 here, I guess, except maybe that's a 19, but I don't think it's possible. So we got 8 for Hatti, 9 for Mitanni. Looks like it's 9 for these thingies. And these boohickeys are at 13. Okay, so that's going to be my order, except now I have to choose between these two. And that's going to be on total victory points. And now I got to get close again, because my eyes aren't very good, and this thing is unreadable. Total victory points, looks like it's 16, because there's no real distinguishment that I can make except by looking at that kind of fake Greek writing. So we've got a 16 on this Mitanni, and that's really a dinger on this guy, is the graphics. Maybe pretty or something, I don't know, but it's not very useful in my bad lighting with eyes. Okay, 16 to, what is the other one? Looks like it might be 16 as well. I've got to like look for the Arabic numerals in there. I don't feel like it adds a lot of flavor. I feel like all it adds is some irritation. The Arabic should have been highlighted out so you could read it. not asking for cheesy looking here. Well, I got no idea. They look paired. Oh, you know what didn't happen? Somewhere we're supposed to do the neutral nations. Ah, it's kind of hidden here under the strategy phase. That's what I didn't do. And we don't actually have one. I had to remove him. Okay. Good enough. So, this is the order that the picks are going to be in. And the Hati have to pick first. Well, they're going to go last. They don't see any great advantage in jumping a start in here. They're going to be able to get some replacements into place here. And we'll see what happens. These two, well, I think I have to roll off between them. I don't know. Okay, we get the Sumerians first. They too would like to go kind of late. They don't see a huge advantage here. The Egyptians definitely are going to go a little later. And that puts the Mitanni back at the top again. Why are they at there? I don't think that makes sense. They weren't the highest points. Were they? They were at 9, not 16 or 19 or something. They were at 9. Who else was at 9? Okay. Everybody else is at 9. Except, no, they're not. Oh, boy, this is a pain in the ass to read. Okay, current turn 8. Put something on these current turn ones. 8. Current turn 9. And this is just going to get worse when those numbers get weirder. Okay. Well, let's see. Current turn. Looks like 9 there. And here they were the highest. Let's try this again. And this is how much fun it is when somebody designs a game in a way that it's hard, you know, to physically cope with, right? This is my ordering. I don't know what I did. We'll go through it again. Alright, and then we'll score the points. And this is one for the record books, isn't it? The game's not worth this aggravation. I mean, it really isn't. There's not a lot of it. You could say there's not a hell of a lot of aggravation here, but this game is just not interesting enough to make up for it. Okay, the Hati. Yeah, they want to go early. And now we got the roll. And we'll do it in this order. Alright, whatever. I'll add the points. People will have to discard the cards, and I'll have to check all the little fiddly bits there. This game feels too light to be this kind of annoying. That's all I have to say. I'm going to load this one up. Anyway, I cleared the stupid wooden tribute points off the boards. I can mark them as needed if needed. It's kind of a pity because they're kind of a different color, which would help tremendously, but our totals end up at 13 for Hati, 25 for Mitanni, and you know, these charts are just not, maybe if they were right in front of you, it would be better to write on paper though. 25 for the Kassites and 18 for the Egyptians. That's where we are, and up it goes. Alright.